Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another very interesting knockoff figure that I had found on Amazon. I actually saw it a little ways back, but it was just a bit too expensive for me. I think it originally started out around $50, then it kind of dropped down to $30, and I'm like, it's still too much for a knockoff, especially because it just looks basically like the Epic Roarin' T-Rex with a different color scheme and apparently a misting action. But it recently went on sale for about $15, and I thought, you know what, for $15, my curiosity is definitely going to get the best of me, and I went ahead and ordered it because I really wanted to see what it looked like in person, and I don't know that it'll get any cheaper than that. But you can see again what it looks like here as far as like the box. We've got the Cretaceous period over here, light and sound action dinosaur, and then some images of the fact that apparently our T-Rex has really bad breath or something. Here on the side you can see light and sound action. On the back, pretty much the same thing, and then up on the top, pretty much the same thing, and then on the underside, you just have some random info, again, that is currently upside down. So let's go ahead, pop this open, and check it out. So the figure does start out in quite a few different pieces, basically, you know, unassembled. You have to pop these pieces on, I would imagine. So we'll pop them on here. I'm actually going to do it out of screen so I can see exactly what I'm doing. So here, after a little bit of a struggle, is our T-Rex. I will say instantly that the colors seem a little bit different than what I had seen on the promotional images. It actually kind of looked like it had a lighter tone in the face. It does not have that here in person, but overall it looks like a super goofy looking version of a Mattel T-Rex. It absolutely does, in my opinion, come from a Mattel T-Rex. Some of these figures kind of have the look of being a Mattel T-Rex, and then when you get them in hand, they do look a little bit different. This one looks to me like it is pretty apparent that it was at one point a Mattel Tyrannosaur, but they've definitely altered many different things about it. Like we can see the dinosaur now has all sorts of osteoderms all over the body, which you can see again popping up here and there, just tons and tons of osteoderms all over the place. We can see the head sculpt also looks a little bit different, kind of like they've widened out the head, so it does look thicker, which is kind of a weird choice. The eye area also looks kind of goofy, and the eye is painted pretty sloppily. And because it has like this area where you have to put the water in for the misting effect, you actually have like a little area of almost like spikes on the top of the head, or on the top of the neck, I should say, for the T-Rex, which is pretty strange, but overall it absolutely resembles a Mattel T-Rex pretty much all around. The coloration is also fairly reminiscent to a Mattel Tyrannosaur, as we have like a light brown for the majority of the body color. You also have a darker shade of brown that runs over the snout, and then you can see it starts here in the back of the neck again and then leads out into the tail, but ends before it leads too far out into the tail. You would think these companies, it also just leaves the button here the same lighter brown, so that's really ugly. They should have at least given that the darker brown. But you would think these companies, if they were going to bootleg a Mattel T-Rex, you might want to try to at least make it look a little bit better, and maybe give it some coloration on the underside and a little bit more color out onto the tail. You know, fix the mistakes that Mattel makes, and instead we get pretty much a clone of a Mattel T-Rex with some random added texturing and stuff. And you can also see again the fingernails are unpainted, but the toenails are painted. However, the dew claws are unpainted, so they really wanted to trick people into thinking that this was a Mattel Tyrannosaur, in my opinion. When you get nice and close, you can see the texturing looks okay, honestly, throughout the course of the figure. Sometimes you get these knockoffs and they will be a little bit muted as far as the detail goes. Here in the face, at least, I think it looks fairly decent. We can also see a little bit of a darker brown there circling around the eye as well. I feel like the area here almost has like crests up above the top of the eye, which is also a little different from your standard Mattel T-Rex. And let's see if the eye's a little bit better. Kinda, definitely looks a little better on this side. Obviously, we have an articulated jaw. We can also see the area here where we are going to get the lights and the mist from. We've got a nice rubber tongue on the inside of the mouth, which is pretty interesting, which it actually has some okay texturing to it and everything. The teeth are painted with sort of like a light yellowish tone, which is also very Mattel-like. Again, basically stealing almost every aspect of the Mattel T-Rex. There is actually a screw hole on the inside of the upper side of the mouth, but you can see we've got a pink on the upper side, pink on the lower side, some decent detail in there, and a gloss coat, again, which is also nice to see. However, when you turn the T-Rex around, you get a very not Mattel-like area, and we have screw holes, and not just screw holes. Oh man, there are so many screw holes, more screw holes than I think I may have ever seen on a dinosaur before. This doesn't look like it was assembled, it looks like it was murdered. Like, there are so many bullet holes all over the side of this T-Rex. It shouldn't be standing right now. It should be laying here on its side, bleeding out, because it absolutely was shot up in a severe way. Let's see how many we can find. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Who knows if there's one behind the leg? Shockingly not. 8, 9, 10 down here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 screw holes if we don't count this one. Maybe, I don't know if I counted that one. There may be 15 to 16 screw holes on one side of this Tyrannosaur, which is absolutely insane. As you move back into the figure, again, the detail continues to honestly look all right. It's definitely not as crisp as you get with a Mattel T-Rex, but it's not too far off. We do also have articulated arms, forward and back, pretty similar to a Mattel T-Rex, which is nice. The arms honestly look like they were taken straight from a Mattel T-Rex. But as we move back a little bit further, I think the legs as well look honestly like they are a clone of a Mattel Tyrannosaur's legs with just a little bit more kind of osteoderms and stuff added in. We can see as we move down into the foot sculpt as well looks very much so like a Mattel T-Rex foot sculpt. We also have actually articulation in the ankle, which clicks for no reason whatsoever, but we do have that, which again is very Mattel-like. You as well have leg articulation forward and back. That's about as far back as it goes, though, so it doesn't have quite the amount of mobility as a Mattel T-Rex. Can go forward pretty far, though. Let's see what the other legs got going on. That's about as far forward. That's about as far back, so a little bit limited, I think, compared to the other side over here. But then you also have tail articulation, and that actually operates the head. So you can see you can kind of swivel it and then also go left and right. And if you look, again, very Mattel-like as far as that action feature goes. You've got the left and right kind of turn and also can tilt the head. And I'm going to assume that this button is going to open the mouth. Yeah, so you've got a chomping action feature like usual, and then we have some more areas out here that kind of look like they should have articulation, but they actually do not. Just some seams in that area. Similar to Mattel dinosaurs, the tail is definitely short, and in general, the proportions are off all over the place when it comes to a T-Rex, or even a Jurassic Park T-Rex. So you do still have that going on, but it's definitely interesting. I mean, it's kind of fun just because it is like a very obvious knockoff of a Mattel T-Rex, but at the same time, it's kind of sad looking, honestly. It almost looks like it should probably be put out of its misery. It almost looks like it was, actually, with that drive-by shooting it apparently lived through. For a length, you are looking at about 18.5 inches or 47 centimeters, and then for a height, about 7.25 inches or 18.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, I'm not even going to do the usual comparisons. I think the best route to take would just be to bring in some Mattel T-Rex figures to kind of decipher the size. And as it turns out, I honestly feel like we don't really need any more than this, because we have the extreme damage, which is also the extreme chomp in size range for the T-Rex, and as we can clearly see, these two are pretty much the same size. But there was one comparison I really wanted to do, even though we've already established that it's not going to be as large as this figure, but this is the Epic Roarin' T-Rex from Mattel, and I wanted to do that one because the head sculpt on this one looks, and also kind of the colors, but the head sculpt on this one looks so similar to the Epic Roarin' T-Rex from Mattel, and I think it's definitely obvious to me that it is in fact the same head sculpt, but it's just been drastically altered. Like, specifically the bumps moving along the top of the head here are pretty close to the way we see them on the other Mattel T-Rex, but they've obviously just altered a whole lot when it comes to the figure in general. Like, moving through the head sculpt, they've widened it and resculpted some areas. Weird decisions. If you're just going to bootleg a figure, why not just straight up bootleg it, especially when you're trying to pass it off as a Mattel T-Rex. But I think the Epic Roarin' T-Rex is probably the original T-Rex that this one here may have came from. You can even see like the same scars almost and everything, even though they don't run into the lower jaw quite the same way. But I think that is, again, the original version of this one, but as you can see, they are definitely quite a bit different in size. Now, the figure does not come with batteries. I had to put batteries in it. It does come with this little gadget here so you can fill the dinosaur up. Again, this just basically pulls out and you fill it with water. I did put water in it and batteries, so let's go ahead and get an idea as far as what the action feature and everything is like. So very clearly we can hear that we've got the Jurassic Park roars. We also actually have the epic roar and action feature itself. We also have a light up effect coming from inside the mouth, and then obviously we've got mist spraying everywhere. I'm going to try to dim the lights completely just so we can see if we could see this again and what it looks like with no lights on at all. So apparently we have a fire-breathing Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's very reminiscent to the Godzilla figures out currently from Playmates and Jada Toys. So this is definitely another interesting one. These random companies really seem to enjoy bootlegging the Mattel Tyrannosaurus Rex. I can understand why, because everybody loves a T-Rex, and everybody even more so seems to love a Jurassic Park style T-Rex, even though we've got so many out. But obviously this company, unlike some of the other ones that we've seen in the past, doesn't care as much about blatantly bootlegging things, because this one looks like almost a direct clone of the Mattel T-Rex with just a few things altered, a little extra skin texture here and there, some random like ridges over the eye area, but for the most part it really does look just basically like the epic roaring T-Rex from Mattel. It does have a very Mattel-like color scheme as well as you move through the figure. Again, this is pretty close to what I would expect to see from a Mattel T-Rex. The detail's fairly crisp and vibrant, but not quite as nice as you would see on a Mattel T-Rex. It also has a little bit of a satin shine in some areas, which again looks a bit awkward and also would not be seen on a Mattel T-Rex. The paint is a little sloppy, especially when you look at the eye and stuff, but it's not the worst thing in the world, and you can obviously see we've got some very interesting action features and stuff with the figure, a light up feature as well as a misting feature, which is definitely an interesting choice for a T-Rex. And as we can also see, our Tyrannosaurus Rex has definitely lived through some stuff, as it apparently is a survivor of a drive-by shooting with about 1 million screw holes on one side. Well, maybe not that many, but I think we said like 15, 16, something like that. Either way, it's kind of silly, but still kind of fun because it's silly, I guess, but still sort of terrible. I don't really know how to term it, but if you are interested in grabbing one, I will include a link in the description to where I purchased mine on Amazon, and you can check and see if maybe it's still on sale. I definitely would not recommend paying $30 for this one though, so if it's not on sale, I'd say wait until it is. And if you are interested, again, check that, and of course like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.